Nick.
Hello, Tice. What's going on?
Oh, you know, just getting into the ghoulish fun of October.
Ooh, scary. I love it. That's my favourite. That bit at the end, that shing,
Yeah.
and then the howl. I love a good howl. I love a
Who
good werewolf movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need a new one, don't you think?
A new werewolf movie.
Don't you think a new scary werewolf? It's been a while since the Wolfman.
Cursed?
Oh dear Lord.
Oh dear.
Oh, that's a shame.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 80.
80
of Nick Tyson Videotape. It's our Spook-isodes, our October Spook-isodes.
Yep.
Celebrating everything that is ghoulish and
an 80th
gross.
anniversary, if that is a thing.
And yes,
we are your weekly podcast for film and trailers.
Probably not the only one. I
Probably
think
not the only one.
I have a sneaking suspicion there are a few weekly movie podcasts on the internet.
And that's awesome. If you have picked us from the bottom of our hearts, thank you very much.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Yes. Yes, well, as we said, we're in the middle of very exciting things for October.
We are.
We've been doing some fun stuff. We had an episode on Nightmare on Elm Street a couple of weeks ago.
We did.
We also did an episode of things that it's on our list.
On our list.
Movies that we've just somehow have never seen, even though we should have. And we watched Suspiria.
We did.
That one's still lingering for me.
Argento, yep.
Yeah, that's actually hung around in my head, surprisingly.
Has it?
Yeah.
Has it?
Yeah, I think I'm even reassessing it. Since we recorded it.
Oh, see, this is the thing. And that's what you could feel when you were watching that movie. You were like, no, I think this needs a rewatch.
Yeah,
already.
absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
Today, we're doing something a little bit different.
Today we're doing something from the new release section.
Yes. If you want to go back into the archives of Nick Tyson Videotape, we do like to spend, you'll notice a bit of a pattern with our October episodes. We do like to bring a few of our segments back into play.
That's true.
But we also like to do one of the recent kind of box office horror movies of at least, maybe even just the year prior. So this week we're looking at a movie from last year that was actually a bit of a box office surprise hit. I think.
Was. Look, the trailer sucked me in. When I saw the trailer, I was like, "Oh, this looks really interesting." Yeah.
So we're talking about 2017's Happy Death Day.
Happy Death Day.
Which I'm sure a lot of people have seen. If you're a horror fan, it turns out most people saw it because it made a fair bucket of coin.
Did it?
And it was a bit of a surprise hit for the old Blumhouse crew.
Is that why there's a sequel in the wings already?
Of course it is.
We want to jump on the cash cow that is horror movies.
Yes.
And like my friend Tyson said before, if you've got anything that's even hinting at a good story or a franchise, hey, we're going to chuck a bucket of cash at you.
Make some coin, get in and out while you can. Nick, before we do any of our regular stuff, why don't you tell people how they can find our little show?
Well, sure. Well, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us. If you are streaming us from iTunes, thank you so much. You are the common one that we do get.
You are a common one.
That's terrible. Don't say that. You're not common. You're very new. Thank you so much. You're very common. No. Thank you so much. And if you would like to just scroll down a touch and just flick on the 5 stars, we would love you for it.
It's like
and
it's
the reviews,
right there.
and like you can, they've made it so that you can literally just type in a quick review. Yep, was good. It doesn't even have to make sense.
Yes, was good.
Yep, was good. And we'd love you for it. But other than that, if you're on Podbean, you won't be able to find us because we're not on Podbean. If you're not on Spotify, you can't find us there either. But we are literally on everything else. I searched it up the other day. I was like, I want to make sure.
Great. So we're everywhere else. In case you're worried, you will be able to find us.
We're on Stitcher. We're on TuneIn Radio. We're everywhere. We're even on YouTube. So there you go. Oh, Tysh, you watching a little something?
Oh, excuse me. Apologies.
Anyway, so if you would like to find out what Tice is just secretly YouTubing while we're recording, or if you would like to see what's coming up, or get in contact with us, we are on basically every other social media content that's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and yeah, we do have an email account. If you'd like to write us some correspondence, it's nicktysonvideotape@gmail.com. I spell Nick, N-I-C, and Tice is T-Y-S.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Well, very good. Well, Nick, why don't we start the show?
Ooh,
as we always start.
We've had some good ones, Tice.
I just went Sean Connery. Let's start the show.
I can only say...
We both did just the most awful Sean Connery impersonation.
It doesn't help that I've got chocolate in my mouth. I can always say in Sean Connery that... Frankly, you sound like a fucking idiot. And that's from The Rock. You know when he says it in The Rock? Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, trailers, yeah.
Well, yeah, let's do that.
Everybody's talking
trailers. All right, well, so last week, we were idiots, right?
last week.
We were sitting there saying, "Oh, there's not much to talk about." We recorded the episode,
And then
the day after, it was like Christmas. Just trailers everywhere. I was tempted to call you and be like, "We need to just re-record the Talkin Trailer section."
Exactly, but not only trailers, horror movie trailers
as well. Like, and a pretty big one that I think lots of people are excited about.
Yeah,
that's Pet Sematary.
Yeah, the remake of Stephen King's Pet Sematary, and you've got some people in there. Jason Clarke, John Lithgow is in this thing. My God.
So many trees.
It's beautiful, right?
That's definitely not Boston.
Here we go. Okay, so what do you think?
Wow. This whole place is ours?
I even got him to throw in a whole forest as a new backyard.
It was a myth. Kids used to dare each other to go into the woods at night. They knew the power of that place. They feared it. Those woods belong to something else. The ground is bad. It may be just some crazy folk tale, but there is something up in those woods. There's something that brings things back. Sometimes dead is better.
What?
I just needed a bit of silence.
Oh, did you? Why?
So that I can cut in.
Oh, cut in. Oh,
cut in
hello.
the trailer.
Oh, I didn't know what you were doing.
As soon as I get that one little bit of silence, it's like, and there it goes.
And there it goes.
But we didn't get one then.
Fair deal.
Yes, you're right. John Lithgow, Jason Clarke. I love John Lithgow. I love
anything that he's in.
I'm such a big fan of his.
Yeah,
so I'm really excited that he's in this. And I love that they have him doing that iconic line because it just...
Oh, yeah.
I like the old version, don't get me wrong. Sometimes dead is better. Yeah. And it's a bit like, it's really menacing. I just like the way John Lithgow delivers it, where it's a bit more naturalistic, but it's still got
a little sinister.
He's got his own intonation to it, and it sounds so distinctively like John Lithgow. I just love it so much.
So good. It's so good.
So Stephen King written.
Stephen King.
I'm loving this Stephen Kingness that is, everyone's right back into Stephen King again. He must be loving it.
Do you think it's because of it and how successul it was?
I think
like, obviously
it actually kind of
gone...
started a little bit earlier, I think.
Dark Tower.
No, not Dark Tower. No one gave a fuck about Dark Tower. I want to say, let's take it back a few notches. I want to say that with Stranger Things becoming so popular and so obviously influenced by Stephen King, that I think it kind of brought about, because there's constantly Stephen King adaptations. Yeah. Like they keep churning them out. But then because
you get a little TV series here and there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you get of his series, like the series that came out. I remember there was one, but everyone was watching it, and I was like, yeah, I know what it is. I might watch it, but I never end up did. But yeah, now we've just had a mass resurgence.
Well,
man.
yeah, I feel like we're kind of in the 90s again.
Yeah,
where
and I'm telling you, fucking Langoliers is around the fucking corner.
Oh my God, if they remake the Langoliers
or Thinner, was Thinner him? No, Thinner wasn't him.
Yeah, Thinner was him.
Thinner
it's
was
a Richard
him.
Bachman book, though, I think.
Oh, okay.
Under his pseudonym. But you know, like we've always, it's been a constant kind of source of entertainment. Stephen King stuff. We've always had it. We've had. I'm just trying to think of the last. I'm looking back through the last kind of big budget.
Yeah.
Stephen King story that we had, and it actually has been a little while.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the one that kind of kicked it off again. It actually, No, it's hard to say. So there was a couple of TV shows. Under the Dome was quite successful, and so
The Mist TV series, that was a myth.
no, the movie was popular.
The movie was popular, but the TV series wasn't.
TV series was a bomb.
Right.
1408 was quite popular.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was based on a short story. So look, he's been hanging around, but this resurgence of his stuff, which I think, we had a couple of TV series, Under the Dome and the one about the Kennedy assassination, 11/16. Well, no, what is it? 63. Fucking I don't know.
And it's gone.
And then that's led our way into some of these. We also had the Carrie remake.
Yep, that's true. Can I ask a question? Is there something that's a bit of a hands-off? Maybe don't remake that because it's perfect the way it is.
Ooh.
Is there anything that you would like them not to do, Tyson, that you think should just be kept as
Well,
the
it's funny.
original
They'll
and that's
never.
it?
I just don't think they'll ever remake the drama, the dramas. Like
really?
you'll never get a Shawshank remake. You'll never get a Stand By Me remake. You'll never get a Green Mile remake.
No.
They,
And good.
Yeah, they won't bother with that. But for the horror stuff, I think there is
Really?
a bit of flexibility there because, like we were just saying, most of his stuff that was made in the in the 80s and then into the 90s.
Yeah.
The 80s kind of horror movie boom, they all lend themselves to remakes anyway.
Yeah.
We're remaking everything, so why not remake some Stephen King ones? And look, I'm happy to see what they come up with.
Yeah, fair deal.
I don't think,
You can't not lose. You can't. Maybe you'll pick a winner.
well, that's it. You might end up with something a little bit more.
Good luck to you if you want to do Dreamcatcher. I'm sure you're going to bring something better.
Nobody's remaking Dreamcatcher. The poo monsters, the monsters that come out of your bum.
The reason why I bring it up only because I would like them not to touch Misery. I believe it's going to be a hard. I would rather you not touch it because it's perfect the way that it is for me.
Sure.
Just for me.
That's a good choice.
I think there are some things that aren't meant to be touched, and that is one of them.
One that I'm quite okay with them remaking is Pet Sematary.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it begged for a remake. Like, I was like, this mini series needs to be remade.
Well, yeah,
into a
considering
film.
it, and that's what, like any of those 90s television miniseries, of which there were probably about 8 or 9, I want to say.
Yeah.
Some, even going into the early 2000s when you had like the, Rose Red, or like, was that what it was called?
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Which were less
Yeah, I remember
popular,
them.
but, or like Storm of the Century and like Desperation. Some of the less popular ones were TV miniseries ones, so obviously it was very successful.
Jump on them.
But why not, go for it? Make movies of these. They've been trying to make another movie of The Stand for God knows how long.
Oh, yeah.
And
that was a TV series as well?
It was, yeah. And that TV series is okay. It's, The Stand is like, it's such a huge book. Like, so much stuff. So much stuff happens.
Sean Connery.
So much stuff happens that it's just, I can't imagine it being compacted down to one film, but, good luck. I hope they try because there's so much stuff missing from that miniseries that could have been in there.
Oh, really?
But there's something like Pet Sematary. It's not a huge book. It's not one of his like giant epics. It's pretty self-contained, and so it has the opportunity. I think it lends itself to a contemporary retelling, and we can kind of do stuff now where with this kind of the way that we approach horror movies now, where we can be a lot less schlocky.
Yeah.
I think there's some stuff in this that could work exceptionally well.
Yeah. Especially this trailer, I will say, because I'm a bit of a fan of the original. I kind of like the original.
It's been forever since I've seen it.
Oh, really?
Like, forever. I remember so little about it.
It was eerie is what it was. It wasn't horror in your face. It's not as scary as It or something like that.
Okay, sure.
It was just slightly eerie for me. And the end got a bit bonkers, but it was Stephen King. So,
Yeah.
So, but watching this trailer and knowing the story quite well, this trailer does it very well.
It does.
It just shows, here's some things here. The cat just eyeballing the camera was just petrifying.
It's great.
It's such a good shot. And then, so the family moves in and then, amazing house, da-da-da-da-da. And then you just see this truck just fly past. And if you don't know the story, you won't know why that's relevant.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just beautiful. And it's just, that is well, whoever put this trailer together, hats off to you.
But and it's such a
well
great moment where, like, just the way they look at each other, like,
that was like,
that seems really close.
Yeah,
and
it's very fast.
That's
What's
dangerous.
Going on? Yeah.
Just the kids themselves as well, like the way that they're showing the kind of the history of the cemetery. Looks really kind of unsettling and eerie. The cemetery itself,
the woods itself,
it's
as well.
Great production design.
Yeah. It was the walk in the first one. I remember it being the walk to the cemetery that was scary. It wasn't the actual cemetery itself. It was the walk that you did.
Is it also weird that the kid that they've cast even kind of looks a little bit like Micah Hughes or whatever his name is?
Who did the original
one and
really
did Mercury Rising and whatever. It looks like him. I was like, this is
weird.
Is that how they cast this kid?
You've clearly done it on purpose or something. Yeah, I thought that as well.
Very strange.
Very weird.
Look, I mean, there's so much potential in this film. I really like Jason Clarke. I'm a big fan of his. And
Jason Clarke, he's sort of becoming quite a favourite, isn't he?
Yeah.
A big fan favourite.
I just really enjoy him as a presence.
He's you know what he is? He's a really good everyman.
Yes, he is.
He plays it very well. It's been a while since we've had a good everyman, and he does it well, especially in Terminator Genesis.
Oh, yes, that is absolutely. Do you know what? And this is like, you've heard this from me before.
Yeah.
He's not the problem with that movie, I don't think.
No.
He, there are many problems with that movie. I still think it's okay and pretty easily watchable.
I'm going to give it another watch, okay? Only because the Mother of Dragons is in it, but apart from that,
Sure. But yeah, like I'm just a big fan of what he does. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I think he's awesome in that.
So good.
And I'm happy to see him doing this kind of stuff. Also because I think he does do slightly menacing well.
Oh, okay.
I think he can do everyman, but he can also be a little bit kind of like you're not quite sure you trust this dude.
Yeah, fair deal.
And I think that obviously leads well into the story.
Yeah, I like
what we're going to get from that.
Oh yeah, true.
I am.
You're
all
see
about
this?
this.
Yeah, I'm all
definitely
going to
see it. I'm going to reread it as well.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know if I own it. I think I do own it.
You do?
I haven't read it since I owned it. I rented. I borrowed it from a library back in the day.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, and but now I have my own crisp copy.
Lovely.
That I will crack out in preparation for this. Yeah, I'm really keen. Keen. It looks great.
Yeah.
The directors of one movie specifically that I got excellent reviews that I'm meaning to check out, a movie called Starry Eyes.
Oh, yeah.
A horror movie from a couple of years ago that was really well received in horror circles.
2014, Starry Eyes?
Yeah, I think, and one of the segments of the
Scream series. They did a couple of episodes of the Scream series.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. All right, cool.
Obviously, it's two. It's Kevin Kolosh.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it. And Dennis Widmeyer.
Yeah, so, look, indie horror makers that are kind of being handed the keys to a big budget kind of thing. That's great.
Yeah.
I really think that's awesome.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere, man.
Yeah, that's it.
Decent.
And they've proven themselves with a couple of smaller, well spoken about pieces.
Yeah.
And now they get the opportunity to tackle the most iconic horror writer of our generation.
Yeah. It'd be daunting.
It would be
daunting. Quite daunting.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And because there's beats you got to hit. Like there's certain beats that you just know you got to hit.
Yeah.
And look, and we got little snippets of each of them, and I'm pretty comfortable with how this is looking. I think it's going to be really great.
Bring it on.
Yeah,
Bring it on.
can't wait.
Shall we go to the next one?
Yeah, let's do that. Next one is we're going to talk 3 today, aren't we?
We're going to talk 3.
So we'll smash through them pretty quickly. The second one is a smaller film that the trailer came out today or yesterday, I believe.
Yeah.
And that is a horror movie called...
2 seconds. The Possession of Hannah Grace.
That is correct.
Let's play the trailer now so that I know what's going on.
Okay.
This job is not for everyone.
Because of the hours?
Because the only co-workers are cadavers. I heard there were issues.
Yes, there were issues. But I'm much better now.
Welcome to the team.
You're the new girl.
Megan.
Well, I got a weird one for you. Her name is Hannah Grace. And her family was performing an exorcism or something on her.
Dad?
Something went wrong. And she died in the middle of it. know what they say. If an exorcism isn't completed, evil will find a new vessel.
I believe when you die, you die. End of story.
Then you're up for it?
I can handle it.
All right.
All right. Tyson, this looks really good to me. This looks intriguing.
Yes, this was a very effectively made trailer. I enjoyed this a lot. It has a lot of the typical kind of
jump scare,
post 2010 horror film tropes.
Yep.
But for me, it looks polished as hell. It is an intriguing premise, something that I think might have stemmed from the popularity of a movie from a couple of years ago, The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Yeah. So it may have been done before, but this trailer looks good. For those of you who don't know, the reason... so Hannah Grace is obviously working in a morgue. Oh, no, it's a possession of Hannah Grace. No, it's her. So she's working in a morgue, or is she someone else? Damn it.
I would have assumed Hannah Grace is the one that's dead.
In. Oh, maybe it's not. Maybe it is her. Who knows? Maybe that's the rub. Anyway, so a young lady is working at a morgue and a cadaver. They call it a cadaver, which is
a cadaver.
Puts me off. But yeah,
it is the girl that comes in.
Oh, okay.
So
she comes in. A cadaver comes in that it says that the family was trying to perform an exorcism.
Mm-hmm.
They failed.
Mm-hmm.
The Hannah Grace obviously died, and Hannah Grace is not actually.
Well, she is probably quite dead, but whatever they were trying to exercise
is still inside.
Is still
her.
Kicking around pretty strongly.
Yeah. And it was so good. Like because she's obviously doing the midnight shift. It plays a lot with shadows, and she's there by herself.
Yes, well, it's a cop who has some kind of substance abuse problem, perhaps, or a morgue worker. She seems to be kind of trying to fix herself in something, because there's a comment of something along the lines of you see her do pop some pills, but there's also something along the lines of are you up for this? Are you going to be okay for this? And
something's happened to her.
So it seems like she's already in a kind of a pretty sensitive mental state, and then she gets thrown in the middle of this. I really like there's some great atmosphere in this. There's some really clever little body modify. What do you call it? Contortionist.
Yeah, that's a good
stuff going on with the
because the body comes in and it's really messed up.
Yeah.
What the fuck? And it's not. It's the little eyes that just her eyes. You think that. Oh, she's clearly dead. She's in a morgue, but no, her eyes either winks or opens or something.
Yeah, there's little snapping eyes and little flashes to smiles. And
my favorite, the stuff that gets me, is the sort of. I don't know how to explain it. The camera kind of playing with the person moving behind you in stop motion, slowed down stop motion animation.
Sure.
So there's a slight bit of that you see in the camera footage. But
there's some I think, I get what you mean, where they've kind of removed frames so that it looks...
exactly.
It looks like a much more awkward way of moving. It just looks... I like the mood and the atmosphere of it. I think it has the potential to be really effective. It also, it has the potential to be garbage.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it is, it does feel like it is borrowing a lot, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Every good movie essentially is... The best movies are just borrowing bits of other movies and making sure you do it right.
Or riding off the coattails.
Well, that's it.
Yeah. Jesus.
And so, but we get... Yeah. Oh, yes. So it's almost like the video footage
of hers kind of...
I like that this, because of her substance abuse problem, that we might play into some,
maybe she's hallucinating.
Yeah, exactly. We might be kind of living with an unreliable narrator here, which could be really interesting. I think it looks very atmospheric. And
it looks like a quick movie. This thing's over in 90 minutes.
Oh yeah, for sure. No,
can't really go anywhere else.
You're not outstaying your welcome on one of these kind of films. And look, actually, there's a lot to be said for just a really good, effective, in and out horror movie.
Yeah. Get your scares in, scare the wits out of them, get the hell out. That's why I think Don't Breathe did quite well. Like when we did Don't Breathe last year.
Sure.
See episode 40? No.
Well, I assume it's probably about a year ago. So yeah.
that kind of knew what it was doing. It got in, it got out. Like, it didn't really linger in too many places.
No, that's it.
For very long.
That's it. And
so
if you
it
can
felt fresh.
Yeah, exactly. If you can effectively tell your story swiftly, I think horror is one of the genres that really benefits from movement and swiftness of storytelling. There are, there's obviously the opportunities for big, gigantic epics, but something like It, for instance, is pretty long. I think it's 2 and a bit hours. But
you have a lot of players with that, though.
Yeah, and it's the book is ginormous, and you want the opportunity for those kind of things to breathe. With something like this, you really want it to just get in and do what it does, and really do it well. And this looks pretty effective, I think. I'd be interested to watch this.
I'm going to watch this, Tice. I'm going to watch this. Yeah.
How are you with possession movies?
This is your tickle, isn't it? You don't like possession movies.
Yeah, I don't like possession.
I love them. I'll take anything.
Sure,
I will take a lot.
The old Raised the Catholic in me.
Oh, yep, fair deal.
Is always a little bit uncomfortable with possession films. Obviously it's not really a thing to me anymore, but there's something funny about seeing, you went as a kid to this completely mundane thing once a week where people sat and listened to the same fucking horseshit for an hour and ate some really bad tasting bread or like little bits of wafer, and you're like, well, this isn't nice.
This is great.
Why can't I drink the wine? I want some of the wine. Give me some wine.
I want that red shit. Bring it on.
To see that world transported into like this fucking like
horror, like the darkest of horror.
Yeah, where it still kind of rubs me a little bit in a interesting way.
Fair deal.
Yeah, so
I like that it does that. I think they play with it well. Yeah.
Oh, look, it would, and it's specifically religious possession. I'm fine with like, someone's body's just been taken over by a demon, but once we start getting into like exorcisms and like, that kind of that real down the line good versus evil in that really epically biblical sense. That's where it gets a little, I get a bit funny.
You get a bit funny?
I get a bit funny.
Yeah. Is it because it's got a foot in reality? Because
I think,
church is
you're
thing,
right. I think it does have a lot to do with that.
And I love that. I love the act of trying to exorcise a demon. I think only because I think the movie Constantine did it really well. I haven't watched the TV series, so I've heard it's way better. But
yeah, right.
Keanu Reeves' Constantine, I love that.
Me too.
I
awesome. I really enjoy it.
They could have done multiple
great representation
sequels,
of that kind of stuff.
Multiple sequels. I would have loved it. But yeah, in the horror element of it, it is actually quite scary, and that's why I think The Exorcist on itself is very, apart from what happened on that film set aside, which is a totally different podcast. That movie in itself is quite scary as well, because it is so unknown. Like, you don't know what's going on. You don't get anything explained, anything like that. You get rough cuts and it goes into it, and
sure,
it's scary as hell. But there's so many exorcism movies, Tice, and they scare you. Some of them scare you.
Well, this is the whole thing. For all these people in the world who are quite staunchly religious, right? They believe in God. Let's just say that. They believe in the existence of a God.
Of a higher power, yeah.
If that is true,
guess what?
That means this stuff is true too, because you can't have one without the other. I don't think that
you have to have the dark and the light. Yeah.
You'd have to have the balance in the existence of it. So so it kind of rubs me the wrong way, because I mean,
is it because it's almost saying that monsters are real? It almost is. Almost is.
In a way. Yeah. And it's one of those, this is obviously a heavy dramatization of it, but it's one of those things that you can't ever really discount someone being like truly having like an evilness take over them. How can we prove
that's so true
otherwise?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it all gets, I mean, obviously, these, someone jumping up in a morgue, half burned alive, contortion, crawling on all fours and jumping out the windows and stuff. Probably not.
Yeah.
But, exorcisms happen. People do this. And, whether or not the people that are severely mentally ill, the people that they're trying to perform exorcisms on, they're pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
Weird shit happens,
Scary as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Things that can't be explained are happening.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about that anymore. I'm getting scared. Let's move on to something a lot lighter and a lot fluffier.
A lot fluffier.
What was this one called, Nick?
Oh, dear Lord.
It was called Anna and the
Oh,
Apocalypse.
thank God. Thank you for remembering.
Further updates. Reports of mass infection with the as yet unidentified virus continue to come in from across the world.
Hey, guys.
Have a good morning.
Sure, it'll be the same as always.
Can you hear me? I'm a first aider. New morning feels different than before. And I'm flying.
There's zombies.
Not zombies.
Oh, right, because that's perfectly normal.
I'm ready for turning my life around.
Hey, zombies, right? It's crazy. I know.
We are not opening the doors.
My little girl's out there.
I'm getting my dad, all right?
How are we gonna get past all the zombies?
I just had the best idea ever.
This is the stupidest idea ever.
All right, losers. The streets are chaos and the outlook is dire. What do I do? Like the movie! Destroy the brain! So killing zombies on the...
We go through here, we might make it to the school before sundown. Plus, it'll be fun.
Yeah, certain death is so much fun.
This isn't fun anymore. Come on, run! Search #EvacSelfie.
Well, we all deserve to go extinct.
All right, Nick.
Anna and the Apocalypse.
What we have
Stars.
here, this seems very interesting to me.
This scene's very fluffy, very light,
Yes.
very fun.
Well, yes. It's described as Shaun of the Dead meets La La Land. It's a very apt description, I feel.
And after watching the trailer, I'm not going to say La La Land. I'm going to say Shaun of the Dead meets maybe a Glee or
High School Musical.
High School, thank you.
Yes, that is, look, and
I think it's that.
it's probably because they don't want to be associated with something that maybe doesn't have as high a quality.
Fair deal.
But I did get the High School Musical vibes a lot more, especially in the songwriting.
Yeah. And that's what it was. In saying that, though, Tice, I'll give this a watch. This does look like a bit of fun.
It does look like
especially
a lot of fun.
With the background that we have, we do love our musicals.
I love musicals. I love original musicals. I'm so happy that it is an original musical.
Exactly.
It's this and the horror musical clash.
Has it been done before?
Well, I mean, you could probably say Phantom of the Paradise would qualify as a horror musical.
Horror musical? Sweeney Todd is a horror musical.
Yeah, but
it's a bit different.
Comedy horror musical.
Yeah,
I think is a different thing altogether, because there's obviously there's Sweeney Todd, there's Phantom of the Opera, but this kind of with the comedic edge. There was a movie from a couple of years ago called Stage Fright with Minnie Driver and Meatloaf was in it.
Yeah,
and I had a good time.
Had a good one with that?
I had a good time.
Okay?
Yeah, it was about like a musical theatre camp, and it becomes like a slasher, like an old school 80s slasher at this musical theatre camp. And that had some positives to it. It's funny that it's two genres that surprisingly work well together, because the juxtaposition of the death and the mayhem and these happy musical theatre songs actually is quite interesting and
that's what made it interesting in the trailer. I was like, this is actually quite funny.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's got that a little bit of a spin, like they do realise that, well, they can't be zombies. Well, they are.
Yeah, they're definitely zombies.
They're definitely zombies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like it. It looks like fun.
Yeah, and it gives the opportunity because the songs aren't existing in real life, which I can't remember exactly, but I feel like Stage Fright might have had a bit of an element of that to it, where the songs were like diegetic to the scene, as opposed to being spontaneous musical theatre. Almost,
we're going to cut into a song.
Yeah,
and then
I'm not certain about that. I might be making that up. I can't remember it very well. I remember I had a good time watching it. Whereas this, because it's well and truly in a musical universe where it is spontaneously bursting out into song, you get the opportunity to do some really clever staging and choreography where you can see in the
Hell
trailer
is breaking loose in the background.
Exactly.
And you're singing on the way to your boyfriend.
Which is kind of like an amped up version of that great scene from Shaun of the Dead where he's mundanely walking his way down to the fucking shop to get an ice cream.
Yeah.
And
he
all
doesn't
around
realise
him.
that,
Exactly.
Everything's dead. My favorite is the slip when that happens. He goes in the kiosk, and it's clearly someone's blood.
Gross, brain matter or something.
So good.
So we get the opportunity for some really fun stuff in here. There's a great little snippets in the trailer from her singing what I feel like will be one of the opening numbers of the film, where she's singing about what a lovely day, blah blah blah, going about my business, having a big song and dance.
Yeah.
And there's literally like corpses falling from windows and zombies running past and eating people behind her. It looks like it can be a lot of fun. It appears to be British, I think.
I think it is. It looks British.
Or Scottish, maybe. British. And I think, obviously, bringing that kind of humour to it. There's British humour. It's a very distinctive style.
English are good at humour.
It's just a style that only exists in British comedies. It's something that you cannot replicate in any other culture. And I think gives us, an opportunity for some really fun stuff. A zombie Christmas musical, apparently. There we go.
Is it coming out in Christmas?
It must be. Wouldn't that be fun? I think I'm on board for this.
It looks good.
Yeah. And it's good because I think especially, it's a shame it's not coming out earlier, because this would be a really great movie to watch in October because, like we've talked about before, sometimes you need the palate cleanser.
Yeah.
The movie we're going to talk about later, for me, was an excellent palate cleanser. Where something like this would be great because you'd just be sitting there going, you know what, I've just seen enough of some real fucked up stuff.
I need a bit of breathing room.
I can still watch a horror movie. But something that
something light and
is
fluffy.
light and fluffy, and takes it in a different angle. So it's a real shame that we can't watch this sooner.
I would have eaten this up. End of high school, start of uni, I would have eaten this up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Absolutely,
for sure.
100%.
I think I think it's going to live and die on its humour.
The songs, if you've got a good song in there though, Tice.
If there are some good songs in there, it'll go a long way to winning me over. It was funny because it kind of feels like it's got a really similar kind of colour palette and aesthetic to Sing Street. So it's kind of like, can you imagine if Sing Street turned into a zombie comedy?
You would have loved it.
I would have loved it sick. There's just something about British, like you capture that kind of that drabness of the UK.
It's the suburban streets of the UK.
It's always
and
it's that overcast
it
kind of
fucking
damp,
horrible and cold.
Yeah. It's so beautifully British that it's fun when they can find a way to make the colours pop in that. I think that's really important, and it seems to do that really well.
It does.
I'm excited about this.
Yeah, fair deal.
Some of the tunes sounded good. Kind of catchy.
It did. Look, I'm a sucker for... It brought out... I'm a sucker for Pitch Perfect 1, obviously. All the rest of shit. And it strummed up those type of feelings inside. I was like, oh, hey, this could be a little bit of a Pitch Perfect / a Shaun of the Dead, which, if you don't love Shaun of the Dead, there's something wrong with you. But yeah, I'm all for this, especially with the horror element in there. I'll give it a watch.
I will definitely give it a watch. I was just trying to look up who... wrote the songs
for
this.
Oh, for this.
And they don't. I wonder if they're musical theatre composers.
Looking up the writers. We did have some other drops this week. We're not going to talk about them, but I'll give them a little mention.
Yeah,
while Tice is looking that up. We did have Aladdin, but it was a teaser, and me and Tice are going to talk about it when the trailer drops.
Because there's literally nothing to talk about.
We don't need to talk about it. If you saw it, awesome. If you didn't, you're not missing out. But as far as it goes, it's the word around my where I work is that everyone's talking about the live action Disney. It's starting that talk. Do you like what Disney's doing, that they're doing the live action movies, the animated movies that we've all grown up with and loved? Is this rubbing you the wrong way? Did you hate The Jungle Book? Did you like Beauty and the Beast? Did it strum up some feelings for you? To be honest, and we've talked about this before, I'm not saying anything that we haven't already, but I like it because it's giving kids of today a way into what I watched as a kid, because they're going to watch Aladdin and they're going to go, "Oh, that was really cool. Oh, there's a
was a cartoon
of this.
Let me watch that
Let
cartoon.
me watch the cartoon. Bada bing, bada boom. Robin Williams
For sure.
And yeah, that's I'm all over that.
Yeah.
I'm all over that 100%.
Look, they all kind of, it's hard to tell, obviously. They all kind of look the same at the moment, these kind of live-action remakes. It's, it's got a very nice Middle Eastern kind of flavour to it.
Yeah.
The score sounds great in that big kind of orchestral, reinterpretation
you're
of
adding
it.
a lot of CG in here. You're talking about Disney, the big company that owns everything, and they're going to throw some money at it.
Yeah, tell you what, though,
And that's fine.
that voice modulator that they've got on the gateway to the
I can do
thing.
that was my party trick.
I can't understand a word it's saying.
Are you serious?
On that trailer.
I'll do it right now for you. You
Okay,
tell
sure.
me what it
Who disturbs my slumber?
Isn't that what he says? That's what that's not in the what he says in the trailer,
That's
though.
exactly what he says in the trailer.
Oh, I did not catch that at all.
The diamond in the rough.
Yeah, I remember that bit.
Remember that bit?
Yeah.
that's what he did.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So
Well-
we had a couple of other ones, but we're gonna we're gonna stick to horror.
We like to stick to the horror during
Yeah.
October. It's all
Yeah.
we're getting spooky over here.
Yeah.
That's going to do us, though, Nick. I think.
Unless obviously Avengers 4 trailer hits Tyson, and we stop.
Yeah, look,
we
obviously
we do
there
a whole
will
we do a
be-
whole episode on the actual trailer.
There would be exceptions, of course, of course.
All right, Tyson. Let's shall we start feature prayers, Tyson?
I think we should, my man.
Cool.
And now a feature program.
All right. So, 2017, Happy Death Day.
Happy Death Day.
Nick.
Yeah.
I want to start. Well, why don't we start?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, it was a first-time watch for both of us.
It was.
It was pretty successful as a film. We didn't see it at the theaters, but it got.
Which I kind of liked. I liked that it was a first-time watch. We didn't have this last year, apart from The Fog. But that was on the
I
list
hadn't seen Don't Breathe before we did it. Had you seen Don't Breathe?
I had.
Right.
Yeah.
So first-time watch.
First-time watch.
A movie that was pretty successful. Was reviewed relatively well as well. Like, not extremely well, but enough to that I think people were kind of that kind of charmingly kind of inoffensive experience where you walk out of cinema and go, I didn't hate that.
That's fun.
That seemed to be
where
the
are we
general.
going to have drinks?
Exactly. That seemed to be the general vibe, and I'm going to just go out on a limb and straight away and say I enjoyed this movie a lot.
Okay.
How did you feel, Nicholas?
Tyson, I wasn't a huge fan.
Okay.
But only being honest, look, I gave it a red hot go. I gave it a go. And I can see, look, I laughed out loud twice, I think.
Yes, good.
And then I was like, okay, well, I can see what you're trying to do. And it was very formulaic for me. I was like, oh, I see what's happening. She's gonna redeem herself. Because when it started off, Tice, I've never wanted to see the lead Scream Queen die so fast. She's a horrible person.
Yes.
A horrible character. Oh my God, she was so mean. She was mean to everyone. But instead of getting better, she got a little worse for me.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It seemed to me that her character didn't really care for the things that it seemed very pasted on fake for me what was happening to her. So yeah, it just didn't hit any buttons. So while I was watching it, what have I written here? Oh, so after it got to the point where it started Groundhog Daying, because spoilers for Happy Death Day. We're not going to spoil anything, but we'll talk a little bit about it. It is about a college student who relives the day of her murder over and over again, and she's getting killed by a serial killer. Now, she uses the fact that she's getting Groundhog Dayed, I love that that's a thing,
Yes.
to find out who kills her, the identity of her killer, which is no deal. It's just that when I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, you're doing the Groundhog Day thing.
Yes.
Awesome. But it's been done before. So if you're gonna do it, hats off to you. You need to bring something new to the table, though, or you need to just match Groundhog Day in the different genre that it is.
Yeah, sure.
So for me, when it does flip and she starts Groundhog Daying, it doesn't stay one step ahead. she does the day 3 times, and we see the exact same thing 3 times. I want her to run out the door and to miss that guy, and then we get the person who wants to do something.
Sure. I know.
Just wasn't staying ahead of it, so it was just a little. I thought it could have been a little smarter.
Yeah, look, I agree with what you're saying. I think it's best to go into this movie knowing what it is, as opposed to being completely surprised by it. Because I think if you go into it not knowing that it is Groundhog Day as a horror movie, I think you'll be more frustrated by its comparisons to Groundhog Day.
Yes.
Like, you'll go into it and it will start and you'll be like, all right, cool, blah, 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 blah. And then you go, they're doing the Groundhog Day thing? I'm suddenly less interested in this.
Yeah.
If you go into it with that expectation and go, okay, I want to see a horror movie version of Groundhog Day, I think it never lives up. I mean, Groundhog Day is the best example of the Groundhog Day phenomenon. Because it basically does it perfectly.
But I was really excited for it, though. Like, even though, I do agree with you to some extent. Like, I knew what it was going in. Groundhog Day is one of my favourite films. Bill Murray, you can't really beat him. But I wanted to see that horror movie version. I was like, yeah, bring it on. Okay. Because when watching it with Sam, she was like, oh, is this a Groundhog Day horror movie? I was like, she goes, did you know about this? I was like, yeah. I was like, how did you not know? And then we're watching it, and I'm like, yeah, bring it on. Let's see what you got. And I wanted to, I think I expected a little bit more, that's all.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think it does a couple of interesting things differently. I like the idea that there are consequences in each of the loops to her physically. I think that's an interesting touch. Spoilers for Happy Death Day, by the way. Like, we're going to spoil this movie. Which I think was a nice touch, because one of the things that I think is interesting about these movies is that the stakes can be...
There are no stakes,
well, non-existent, and that happens, you think about... I immediately wanted to watch Edge of Tomorrow after this.
And that's I immediately wanted to. I've written it in there, and that's a movie that, like, it was quite recent, and it does the Groundhog Day thing really well.
But it's actually... I think the biggest problem with that movie is its stakes. Where we don't always... We know that we can have the opportunity for Tom Cruise to succeed in that, but we know he's really got infinite time in order to achieve that.
And the stakes only happen in the last bit of the movie.
Yes, when he's obviously gotten far enough that it now becomes this time or never. So,
fuck, I want to watch that movie now.
Look, it is a great movie. So I really appreciated the fact that she's not going to be able to do this forever, because she's
feeling the effects.
Basically dead. Like the doctor even says, with these injuries, it's amazing you're still alive, because you've had injuries that would kill people. So I liked that as a touch. I actually liked the fact, even though that I think it would turn people off initially, I like the fact that she starts off horrible. Almost to a really extreme degree.
I hated it. I hated her character. And awesome. She did her job well. Now I need to see you be redeemed, or kind of, oh, wow, I'm a horrible person. She knows that going in. Like, that sit down halfway through the movie where she goes, you don't want to like me. I am not a nice person. Okay, I'm not. And I'm like, okay, let's I need to see you redeem yourself. You've realised this now. So she does, and she kind of comes back a little, but it was still, by the end of it, I felt it was just pasted on. I was like, okay, well, I don't really feel it.
I mean, you can't. I can't fault you for not feeling that. I felt that. I felt the turn in her, and I did feel the gradual. I like that it wasn't like she didn't. To me, it seemed like it was a gradual shift, and it was a gradual realization of the people that she would have initially dismissed. I can't remember the guy's name. I can't remember any of their names, by the way. Tree
was her name. Yeah.
What was the guy's name? She says it like... He said it happens like 8 times in the movie, because he keeps saying, I bet you don't remember my name.
And his name was Carter.
Carter, thank you.
But shouldn't that ring alarm bells, Tice, for you? If you don't remember his name... Shouldn't that ring? No, to be honest, Tyson has so much on his plate. I'm not gonna.
I cannot remember names to save my life. People tell me their name, and I literally go, "Oh, nice to meet you."
Nice to meet you. Fuck.
And it's gone.
I know. I do the same.
Yeah. So I bought her gradually realizing what kind of person Carter was.
See, that I didn't buy. I bought the dad.
Yeah, sure.
That one I was like, okay, that's a nice scene
Yeah.
there. I would rather you get up and stand up and hug your daughter, for fuck's sake. But
Sure.
You're in a restaurant, sure.
Okay, of course.
But I really bought that one. That was nice.
I think, yeah.
I liked that storyline.
I think as far as a character kind of arc goes, I think it's pretty decently realized. I think the performance is pretty great as well because like you were saying, she's so believably awful, and she plays into that kind of that sorority girl stereotype so effectively.
Yeah.
That to see her later when she is becoming a much more open-minded and loving kind of person, and someone who is willing to accept her own problems and not
things like that.
dig them down to the bottom and just pretend and just keep being just a old school biatch.
Yeah.
I did really buy that, and I think her performance is pretty good considering, because by the end I was legitimately on her side. And I found at the start of the movie, I don't think I could have said that you could turn me around on her, and I eventually did.
I was the same. I was like, oh, I can't wait for this chick to die a million times. Bring it on.
Yeah,
and maybe that's the effect that they were looking for. You know,
I think it was. I think they want you to hate her. They
want you to hate her.
I mean,
first.
it's you think about Groundhog Day. Bill Murray is not a likable dude at the start of that film.
Yeah.
He's the problem with Bill Murray is that he's likable even when he's unlikable. It's Bill Murray. So we immediately are fine with it. He could be he's a complete rat and we love him anyway.
Exactly.
So in this circumstance, because we have none of that baggage with her, we do hate her. And then we grow to love her.
We get the chances to grow to love her.
Yeah.
I will say one thing, Tyson. That
yes.
fucking killer was scary as hell.
It wasn't bad, hey?
I'll give that props. That mask scared the shit out of me.
Mask is good.
That was a good mask.
Yeah, I like the mask.
A good mask.
It's a mask that can exist in the universe as well, which I like.
I did like that.
I get kind of over seeing slasher movies where I'm like,
where did you get that?
What are you even wearing that for? How could you possibly get from A to B wearing that thing without someone going, oh hey, call the cops right now?
There's a guy with that's scary as hell.
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah,
so
that's a scary mask, bro.
It being a weird kind of like not their mascot, is it? What is it?
It is. No, it's their mascot because there's guys selling it at the booth.
Is it? So are they like the babies or something?
I don't know. It's the baby somethings.
Baby-faced something or others.
I think.
I know it was related to the sporting team, but I wasn't sure if it was like their mascot was whatever it was specifically.
Yeah.
But it means that you can have those fake outs where it's like. Who's wearing the mask and not have someone go, take that fucking mask off because it's terrifying. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You can't
just go, when the crowd went past and they were all wearing the mask and then one guy turned around and stopped and looked at it and you were like, yeah, that's petrifying. That's petrifying. Jesus. He was a little, just a smidge scary movie with his klutzy stab, and she had reflexes of a cat, this girl. Amazing. Every time he went to stab her, she would duck or weave or jump or something.
Yeah.
And he would slam into the wall like Scary Movie does.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. This movie, it played up the kind of slapsticky parts of the kills. But I mean, I was on board for it.
You okay with that?
Well, I think it's got
a comedy.
Yeah, it's making no apologies that it is not a horror comedy because it's not really that. Exactly. But it wanted to make a fun horror movie, like a really fun 80s throwback horror movie.
Yeah. Fair deal.
And so that,
with a 90s Groundhog Day twist.
But you can tell that it's love of 80s, not just 80s horror movies, but 80s movies in general was all the way through it. Just by the posters on their walls.
Yeah. They live, man. How good is that poster, Tyson?
It's great. It's a great poster.
Fuck, that's a good poster.
Even like just doing the 16 candles thing with at the end.
That
like,
was great.
People might our generation will never miss that. Like, our generation sees that and instantly goes, "Oh, it's a 16 Candles
That's cool.
homage." Like, great. So, you know, we know that that these people have a love for that cinema.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of represented it well, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It did.
And
the
because-
80s part of it.
Yeah. But you also get the montage. The montage
Yeah, that was hilarious.
is so much fun and was surprisingly, like, I thought it might have lost me. I was like, oh, now it's getting a bit silly. But I actually had a really good time watching
really?
it. Yeah. And I was like, you know what?
I wasn't a huge...
You get me on this. You've done all right, movie.
Look, it started off bad, the montage, especially because she finds out and then she goes, okay, I'm going to find out who the killer is. You know what I'm going to do first? I'm going to get a whole bunch of camo, paint my face, but I'm going to dye my hair fucking pink. And that's not going to stick out like anything. I'm like, okay, look, I'm going to let you have that one. I'm going to let you have that one.
Look,
and then Tyson... She's after a killer, and then for some reason she just struts nude in the quad, and I'm like, "Come on now, come on! What's the reason?
Yeah.
What's the purpose of this?"
Well, no, because she was just getting the fuck over it.
What?
It was just to a point where it was like she was basically just throwing up the bird at the universe because she was just like, you know what? It doesn't matter anyway. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want.
No one's going to remember
do
me. Get stuff.
anything about it.
Yeah, fair I just didn't know. Why did she have to be nude to do that?
Well, it was the choice that
Couldn't
represents
she just run around
that.
and start dacking people or something?
Yeah, I mean, maybe she did. You know, you never know.
While in the nude.
I like that this movie wasn't one of those, didn't exploit the we don't know how many loops there've been. I'm pretty sure every loop we see is as many loops as there has been.
That's true.
Which is
Groundhog Day, you realise he's been doing it for like years. Well, it feels like years.
apparently someone's worked it out.
Oh,
and,
shit.
Like, well, just based on some of the things that he's able to do.
Really?
Apparently, based on how well he can play
the
piano, he's at least done, like, if he practiced for, 3 hours every single day, to get to that level, it's something like 12 to 15 years of living the same day over and over. Or something. I don't know. Who knows? Someone... So there's that kind of stuff. Same thing with Edge of Tomorrow. You get that thing where there's he has the kind of romantic interlude in the middle, and she's like, "How many times have you done this?" And it's ridiculous. Like it's heaps and heaps of times.
Fuck, that's a good movie. Maybe I should own Edge of Tomorrow.
It's one that I always pick up the Blu-ray and go, "I want to own this,"
and then you put it back down.
Put it back down slowly, because I think it's been available to stream.
Yeah, that's a
literally.
thing.
Ever since streaming services came out. It's just one of those movies where it's never been taken off streaming. If I ever want to watch it, I immediately can.
Go to that stream. Such a good ending too, that ending. Oh, I love
Edge of Tomorrow is a fucking solid movie.
Love a good ending, I tell you what.
Yeah. Having said that, this does use a lot of the tropes of this genre. And I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing. I think these tropes have to exist in these movies.
Fair deal.
And I think it's kind of just like you've just got to eat it up and go with it. Like the, and it happens in everything. It happens in body swap movies. It happens in...
It's true. What is my favourite? Jamie Lee Curtis...
Freaky Friday.
Freaky Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the convincing the somebody of what the situation is
going on
by... predicting what's about to happen and stuff like that.
And man falls over.
Yeah.
And then you have the redemption of her going, okay, I'm going to sign the petition.
That's it.
I'm going to take the shades off the dumbass, and I'm going to get a pillow for the guy who falls over.
Exactly. And so as time goes on and you think, well, maybe I'll just help these people out this time. And so it becomes the growth of the character. You get to see what it's like when she stops ignoring those surroundings as opposed to just predicting them.
Yeah.
I like, there's things that these movies... There's certain things that happen in these movies that don't happen in other movies.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, the very first time she walks out, the only reason why we have the Greenpeace person or whatever it is, is so that we can have it every time.
Yeah.
The sprinklers coming on those two people. It's those things are unnecessary in a film that doesn't require this for the narrative.
Yeah.
Those things just wouldn't happen. So they're very specific to this genre.
So true.
Yeah. And I like how there's always, no matter what the lead up to it, there is always going to be a character that says the same thing. So the conversation could be going in a completely different direction, but every time the lights go out, there's the Queen Bee chick that says, tuition dollars at work. And it happens every single... Or his roommate. What does he call it? Prime Vagina or something?
Blonde Vagina. Which is just horrible.
Which is horrible.
Jesus. But yeah, every time that happened, though, in my head, I'm thinking, I hope you get this reference, Ned Ryerson.
Yeah, of course. Ned Ryerson?
Needle-nose Ned the Head. Come on, buddy. 1972.
Watch that first step. It's a doozy.
Needle-nose Ned the Head. I dated your sister until you told me not to.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck, I love that.
And look, I like, I'm a sucker for this genre. I think I like this genre.
I love this genre as well. I really do. You know what I love, which no one likes, and it has a sprinkling of this genre, but it's different. It takes it into a different. Is the butterfly effect? I actually like the butterfly effect. It has this element of it. He's sort of changing things in his head, so he kind of gets them back, sort of.
Yeah. There's it's got similarities.
Yeah.
There are movies that have taken a similar kind of angle and run with it and just adapted the rules a little bit, and then you of course get the flat out Groundhog Day knockoff.
Yeah.
What I found interesting about this is some of the rules, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, it's not important that we know why she's entered the time loop. I don't think it's important.
No.
I think it has something to do with that music box.
Oh, really?
On the first night. Well, why is that there? What was that?
I have no idea. I thought it was the serial killer setting her up. That was the first kill. And it was her birthday. And it was singing happy birthday to her. I don't know. It's not explained.
It wasn't there the second time. Was it?
Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. I think I got a cup of tea.
Oh, no. Then because she took a different route. She looks down at the thing and sees the music box and goes, fuck this. And turns around.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe it wasn't the music box.
Yeah. I like that, though. I hope it is the music box.
It doesn't matter.
No. It's only explained. Like, even in Groundhog Day, it's not explained. In Edge of Tomorrow, it's explained, and it's kind of nice. I kind of like it. Wow, you're kind of explaining it a little bit.
Yeah. Edge of Tomorrow comes from a sci-fi element so that it has the ability to do that, and we go on board with it. It's funny that, like, in this one, I would have thought that if she died of any other cause, it wouldn't have worked.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
really?
So I found the one where she gets hit by the bus a little kind of like...
Or where she hung herself. When she hung herself, I was like, oh, I bet you fucked up here.
Yeah.
I hope you have. I hope this is like no, you're not allowed to do that.
Like that, there could have been some clarity to the rules, but at the same time, it's just like, well, whatever happens if she dies, she wakes up again,
exactly.
And you kind of just have to go with it. It's almost like that it was irrelevant that there was a serial killer there.
Yeah.
It's just that whatever started the loop,
now has you until
you figure out how not to die on that day.
Yeah.
So it could be for any reason if you die on that day.
I love how she just has to not die for it to stop. That's not really talked about, is it? Because you don't really know until the end.
Yeah, she just needs to. It's just what will solve it is her survival.
Yeah,
it's not so.
But she doesn't know that. She just thinks that's why she's like,
yeah.
No, come on.
Well, what's funny is, maybe it's not. Maybe she has to solve it. Maybe that's what. Maybe she had to actually physically solve
her murder.
Her murder, not just survive.
Yeah.
So if she'd just gone and hidden in a safe room until morning, and not told a single living soul,
she would have repeated. It
might have happened again. That's what I was kind of under the impression. Who knows? We'll never know, Nick.
I like that. The other trope that I like about this genre as well is that this one didn't. I felt that it didn't do well. Was the wake up. Groundhog Day. It was the song on the radio. I got you, babe. You woke up to that song, and that kind of became the theme in the movie. In Edge of Tomorrow, it was what was it? He woke up from something. Was it a gunshot?
It was something. It's the isn't it the captain yelling at him or something? He's on like a bag of like a
he's
bag
sleeping.
of supplies.
That's right,
yeah.
and he gets woken up by Bill Paxton. Rest in peace, Bill Paxton.
R.I.P.
What the hell, man?
Sad day.
But yeah, in this, it was just her waking up. Yes, from her phone ringing. But she kept screaming every time. I wanted her to wake up and go, oh, for fuck's sake. Not pass it through, go, I just died and I'm screaming because I just died.
Yeah, I think there were the ones that... Weren't there ones where she didn't fully scream?
No.
She screamed every time?
Screamed every time.
Okay, so it must have been the shock of it every time that she always screamed.
And that's the other thing that I had an issue with. Like, if you're going to... Where was it? Let's say she embraces her immortality.
Right.
She before she realizes that what's happening to her is causing an effect.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see that scene where she does embrace it. I'm not talking about the nude scene. I'm talking about her going up to the killer and going, "Bring it the fuck on. Who are you? I'm going to die. I'm fucking immortal. Bring it on." I want her to have that. Instead, what we have is her realize what's happening. She dies, but she's still running from him. I understand that she's going to die, but she should be at a point where she can go, no, bring it on.
I get what you're saying. I get, yeah. Well,
like,
that's
like Family Guy style.
We did kind of get that in the one where she basically, suited up to take him on, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
I want to get back to that in a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, even within that, I think what I can think of, and I was trying to imagine in my head, it was kind of like, yes, part of you wants to just go hell for leather, but then if it doesn't work, you got to go back and start it all again.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I've gotten this far, and I reckon I can run. If I just run away a little bit now, I might still have a shot in a second.
Yeah.
There's that. I reckon I'd just get so bored of it because I know what I'm like. If it was, let's say, because what time was it when the power went out each night? Like 10:30, 9:30 or something?
8:30.
Yeah, okay. And so that's 12 hours of day that you just got to sit through.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd just be like, oh, fuck, all right. And then it would get to like, all right, I better get dressed. I'll get dressed and try it again.
Movies. I would watch so
Do you know
many
why?
movies.
It actually would be great because no new movies will come out.
Exactly.
So you can literally
just catch up on
everything.
Everything. Seriously. And then when you're ready, sit on a fucking front porch with a double barrel shotgun and go, bring it on, come at me.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Like a crusty old southern man on his plantation.
Exactly. Warm out today.
Warmer
Even warmer yesterday. What was it? What was the other thing I wrote down? I wrote down something else. No.
You want to go?
No, you go.
Okay. I appreciated the Universal logo repeating on itself at the very start of the movie. Did you miss that?
I didn't catch that.
Yeah. So
really?
yeah.
Oh, I love those things. Those things are what I live for.
So it does, yeah. And there's a shot very early in the film that it does like a double take. It pans down and comes back to where it was.
Yeah.
I liked those little touches that were, if you knew what movie this was,
you're going to see it.
You would see it and be like, oh, cool. It's kind of just getting us in the mood for it.
Nice.
If you didn't, it would feel really kind of disorientating and be like,
what the fuck?
Did I? No. Is something wrong with the film? And then as the movie unfolded, it would be cool to kind of reflect back and go, oh, that's why I did that thing at the start.
That shit.
Just nice little touches that I enjoy.
Yeah, fair
I have some questions.
Oh, go for it.
You know I do like a couple of questions.
I do like your questions.
So I would say a large portion.
That you'd like to, even if it's a movie like this, you'll find some random thing to pick up.
Yeah.
I love it. It's my favourite. What
stuff.
has Tice found about this movie? Go for it. Yeah.
I would say a large portion of this character is based around her character motivation to begin with is based around her disliking her own birthday because of the relationship with her mother
With her mum, yep.
and how important her birthday was to her and her mum.
Yeah.
For somebody who is trying desperately to not draw attention to their own birthday...
Why does she have a birthday ring?
Why does she have a birthday ringtone? Why?
I think... I could be wrong. This is clutching at straws. I think the phone does it on her birthday. I have no idea.
The only thing I can think of, and if it was mentioned in passing in a little piece of dialogue, I apologise now and I'm just going to stop giving the movie shit.
Sure.
The only thing I can think of is that being in a sorority house, I'd feel like there'd be a lot of stuff like that would go on where they'd steal your phone overnight and change your ringtone to be
So
like,
something
it's
like
your
your
birthday.
birthday.
If it was the 90s, it would be, we're going to drink Bacardi like it's your birthday, or whatever that song was.
Shot it like it's your birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that one.
So that was, I had to kind of, I
Whoever
might be...
gives a fuck about your birthday. Yeah.
Maybe I'm just building a bit of scaffolding to make that work.
I go with that as well. I actually had that thought. I'm like, oh no, because everyone knows, and it is the sorority thing. They're doing the surprise birthday for her later in the night. They would have changed it.
Maybe they would have. Maybe they would have.
Yeah.
What's annoying though is that because you have to put up that scaffolding because the fact that it's her birthday and people have to realise that. I think it happens twice that people notice it's her birthday because of her phone ringing.
Yes.
And so now it becomes dependent on that. So then we have to build that scaffolding.
Yeah.
Whereas if it wasn't mentioned and if it wasn't it can still be a plot point that she's she doesn't like drawing attention to her own birthday. But for Carter, at one point, it actually drives the story forward because he finds out it's her birthday.
And then he brings it up, and then obviously the mum and things like that.
Yeah. So that was strange to me, and I think there might have been a better way around that.
Fair deal.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope there was just a quick line of dialogue that I missed, because that seems like overlooking something.
Yeah.
And if I did want to pick on this movie in any way, I do think it does not trust its audience enough. I think there's some really clunky exposition stuff where I think we were clever enough to figure some of it out ourselves.
Yeah.
But we need to have the flashbacks, and we need to have her state it out loud in that it's one of these things voice.
I think that's why I had a little bit of a rub with it. Not only did I wasn't really connected to the character, especially because if you're going to do a movie where your main character is repeating the same day and they're not likable, I'm going to see a lot of this person. It's not going to cut away anytime soon.
Sure.
So, and especially because you started off with me hating her, full hate. It was kind of hard for me to get attached to her character. Now, she didn't really redeem herself in my eyes, a little bit, but not massively. But so I didn't really feel that connection. So with what you're saying, it's not treating the audience with a brain, so to speak. Maybe it's a different demographic. Maybe the people who are watching this, watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians quite a lot.
Sure.
But
maybe.
Things like
maybe
that,
it was in there to make sure that, because
everyone
is obviously
gets what's happening.
If I think cinematic horror movies at the moment are catering to a teenage audience.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, how many teenagers can we get their bums on the seats for that first weekend? Can we push 20 mil? Can we do it? Because this thing cost 4, and if we hit 20, we're popping the champagne.
Yeah.
So it is just the safeguards that they put in to make sure that a younger, because I would imagine this would have been a PG-13. I couldn't imagine this being R.
This can't be an
There was
R.
not a lot of blood. There was not a lot of gore.
And the gore that you saw was like CG gore, so it was like,
but
it was off screen though.
Exactly,
so you saw
it was mostly off
it.
screen.
Yeah.
The only kill that I think was really kind of that I found quite interesting and kind of a bit was the bong. When he smashed the bong, and just jams it into her face.
Jams into her face.
Even though we don't see it, that was the one that made me wince a little bit, and I was like, "Oh, that would have stung." Yeah, good call.
Did
Good
you like
call.
that?
Yeah,
You love puns, don't you?
did. I love a good pun. But the point I was saying with that is, so as a PG-13 crowd, you kind of have to do those things here and there, which kind of sucks a little bit, because I think,
and that's why I didn't enjoy it.
I was picking up on it
exactly
pretty fine.
For a younger audience, they're going to love this thing. For me, a little bit of a veteran with film, it needs to be a little bit smarter for me.
Yes,
exactly. And that's fine.
Exactly.
That's fine.
And it's just one of those things that I think movies are generally better when they allow the audience to come to their own conclusions and to get on the same page with the character, not in a way where it's like the character gets to have the revelation, and instead of us having the revelation, we just get told about her revelation.
Yeah,
I like sharing that revelation with a character. I think that's what I really enjoy.
Yeah.
And there were moments in this where I was having that moment because they set it up pretty well. I will say that while I did think that her what do you call it? Housemate? Roommate?
No, her... Oh,
roommate.
Yeah, roommate. Yeah, sure, roommate.
While I did think her roommate was sus, I did not pick the cupcake.
Which was my next point.
Yeah.
That ending caught me off guard.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
But I did pick it at the moment. She did as well.
Oh, did you?
But...
Okay. I didn't at all.
I didn't need...
the flashback.
Then the basically text on screen saying, "Hey, did you miss this? Because that's what happened there."
Did you see this part as well?
Don't forget this part.
She works at the hospital as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it all basically as soon as she was working at the hospital, I was like, "Oh, there's something going on there."
Yeah. I didn't get it either. And her motive sucks. Jesus, just because she's fucking the guy that she wants.
Well,
oh,
I like
come
that the
on,
movie kind of
really?
calls out that.
Jesus.
She basically calls out and says, "Are you fucking kidding me? Over that guy?
You're killing me?
Over this?" Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
I do like that. I did like that.
Which actually leads me into another point that I wanted to make about some of the things that I did like about it. Is this movie is kind of has its finger on the pulse a little bit with some stuff, which I found quite refreshing. Like it quietly commentates on university life in a way that we used to celebrate and maybe is no longer very cool. Like like the idea of the hazing ceremonies and stuff where they're not, like you're basically torturing these people. The gay guy that feels like he still has to try and bang chicks to hold a rep.
That story. That was a really good storyline that went off.
Yeah, where it's
quite well, and she
where we're living in a time now where that doesn't need to be the case anymore. And while it made me laugh, and then I realized I probably shouldn't have laughed at that, was the frat guy that comes in when she's about to be killed on the bed and just goes, "Hey," because he thinks though she's like,
messed up.
help me,
help me.
And he just like,
he's like,
shuts the door, which is
wrong.
very, very sus, and something that we all know is a huge problem on university campuses. Is the treatment of like how I don't want to just say the male, but the treat like how they treat kind of sexual conquests as like something to be rewarded, and not it can be can turn kind of quite like a quest, and they'll do anything to get it. Yeah. And this movie, it didn't have to do that, but it drops it in as kind of a black comedy gag, which makes you feel bad for laughing at it. Yeah. Which I thought was kind of clever, and is commenting on that at the same time, because the fact is that if we didn't live in that world, she wouldn't have died at that second, at that moment, because someone would have been like, "Hey man, get the fuck off her.
What the fuck are you doing?" Yeah, exactly.
So it's cool. I think the movie kind of has its finger on the pulse a little bit, which same thing from the way it's like, we should not be killing each other over the dude who's married.
We're fucking over the guy's married.
Who the guy who's having an affair on his wife with us students who is exploiting us should not be making us kill each other. Yeah. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, fair deal. I'll pay that.
I think there's problems with the ending.
Okay.
In that,
I have a major issue with the last sentence, but.
Well, okay.
What are you talking about?
Okay, we'll get there in a second. Do you think it's weird, though, that the best version of her day is not the one that ends up being
the
ultimately,
one previously?
Yeah. Ultimately the victorious day.
Yeah. No, because hilarious enough, I'm going to disagree, because I like that it was just another shitty day, but then she found out what happened. Like, I don't want it to be perfect. She's done all these perfect things, and then, hey, you get the good ending. No. Life doesn't work like that. You have the shitty day, and then you find out what's happened, and then it all come crashing down, and guess what? We survived it, because life isn't like that.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you there. That's 100%. I'm totally on board with that as an explanation. I like... What I found interesting about it was that it makes the one thing that I find that I just think it brings up, that whether or not this is a bad thing or a good thing, is that it makes that day where she did really kind of...
She grew,
but she grew in a way that it wasn't just about her.
Yeah.
And it was about making peace with these other people. By removing that day from existence.
Yeah. Is she going to go back and do all that?
I think she will. It means that she's capable of it, but it means that day became about her and nobody else.
Okay.
So she now understands that she is very capable of doing those things, but she hasn't done them yet.
Yeah, fair.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She might still do them, and we want to believe that she will.
She's gonna do them,
that she will go and do those things and be that kind of person again. It was just funny because it just, when you get it so right, you're almost like, am I ever gonna get it that right though? Like, am I,
Yeah, fair deal.
And so, the other characters might not get the same catharsis that she's gotten.
Yeah. I think we get it, though. Even though that day is erased, for movie's sake, we get that day.
We want to, yeah. It only exists for her, though.
Yeah.
And so it ends up, it might shortchange some of these other characters.
Yeah. I do know what you're saying.
Yeah. Because, and it's funny because it's like at the point of giving up is at the point where she succeeds. She doesn't, I think by making the choice to succeed, might have been a little bit stronger than making the choice to leave and then accidentally stumbling across the solution.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think I agree with what you're saying because I think that's strong too, that in life it's not going to be perfect and sometimes you think you've done everything right and you actually still haven't and it's a shitstorm still.
Yeah, exactly.
And you've just got to keep powering through. But from a narrative sense, I don't think it's as strong a statement as that it could have been because she basically just, while trying to run away, basically just figures it out through chance.
Which I kind of like storyboard wise, adding a little surprise. Oh, you did everything good, but you also died.
I knew that there was going to be an extra one because that whole perfect day when it turned out to be the serial killer, I was like, no, something's amiss.
Can't just it feels too episode of a TV show. What the fuck is going on?
But what I would have liked is for it to have still been that day. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like,
that she did those things.
She still did those things.
I know who's killed me.
Yeah.
You motherfucker.
And it's still,
rather than waking up and going, what the fuck?
Like, or maybe having her kill the serial killer guy.
Or not even kill him. Just put more cops there. Like, just like, there's so many things that I was like, after the perfect day when you shot him to death.
Yeah. Also, she would have got arrested.
Yeah,
so
that's the thing. You realise you're going to prison.
Yeah, maybe that day wasn't the best day.
Yeah, exactly. You just assaulted a police officer.
Yeah.
And the next day, where everything went to shit, you just killed someone.
Yeah.
You just kicked them out a window and killed them.
No, that's a good point.
Like, I'm like, okay, you're not really getting it.
Yeah. I liked the cupcake. Cupcake was clever.
I did. It threw me. I was like, because I get immersed even with a shitty movie. I'm like, come on, what is it?
But I love that it perfectly.
I didn't miss way over my head. I was like, yeah.
Do you know what though? And having just said that big statement though, we wouldn't have got the great, because it is really great that the thing that originally was there to kill her only killed her when she became the best version of herself because she trusted her in order to say it's the only time that she ate the cupcake. She went from throwing it in the bin right in front of her to placing it on the table gently but not blowing out the candle to doing the nice thing, blowing out the candle, and then finally keeping it until the end to share it with the guy, and that's the thing that kills her. So that's good. That's solid.
Yeah. I did like that.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking for the sake of conversation.
The ending is a little bit all over the shop.
Well, let's talk about the very ending.
I don't want to.
Do you know what, though?
I fucking hate it.
Well, this is funny, though, because I actually made a note about halfway through where I said, I wish Groundhog Day just existed in these universes so that every time people had to explain things, they could just say, I'm being Groundhog Dayed. And then everybody would go,
I'm being Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Or I'm being Edge of Tomorrow. Could you imagine in Edge of Tomorrow, Tom Cruise went, I'm being Groundhog Day. And Emily Blunt went, oh my God, it happened to me too. It's the alien goo. You know what I mean? It done. Saves everybody 10 minutes of all the dialogue.
All exposition is just that we're fine. We know where we are. Let's go.
So when that last line happened, I laughed out loud.
Really?
Yeah, I really did.
I did. Because by the end of it, especially with me not connecting and all the way through, I was like, really? That's kind of like a... Don't do that. But I wish I had the reaction that you had, because that, would have been so good.
It was
Yes.
It was about, because it was when she was having the conversation with him about the day repeating and stuff. And no, like earlier in the film. And I'm just like, how great would it be if you could just say, have you seen Groundhog Day? Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Who hasn't seen Groundhog Day?
Andy McDowell.
It's what's happening. Yes, and that's what everyone remembers about for Groundhog Day. And the Andy McDowell.
I love Andy McDowell. Ned Ryerson.
Exactly.
I'm going to watch Groundhog Day and Edge of Tomorrow.
I know. You got to round them all up.
I know, seriously.
And have like a movie marathon of Living Days Over movies. I reckon it'd be great.
That would be good.
It'd be unbearable.
I watched Edge of Tomorrow on a plane for the first time.
Not the way to watch
and
that
it was
movie.
horrible. And I think I got about 15 minutes in, realised that this is actually fair game. I'm going to save this for actually when I can see it. on our television.
Good thinking.
And the kid next to me is punching me in the arm every 5
Well,
minutes.
yeah. Don't watch movies on planes.
No.
They're never
don't watch movies on planes. Sure,
Watch crappy
just
movies
make
that you've
sure
seen
that
before.
you've seen it before, and or you're never going to watch.
Or watch comedies. Like
Exactly.
Watch movies that
Not
do not require
visual stimulus. Exactly,
yeah.
or something that's not visually stunning. A friend of mine, and I know he listens to this podcast.
Oh,
so
very good.
This is a shout out to you, Jerry, who asked us to do The Warriors.
Hey,
whose
Jerry, what's up?
birthday is very, very soon.
Oh, happy birthday,
Jerry. He watched Girl with a Dragon Tattoo on the plane. David Fincher is a visual goddess.
Goddess?
Yes, goddess. I'm going to go with that.
Oh, nice.
Watch it on a big screen, please. Please, Jerry. Watch it on your massive television that I know you have at home.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's going to do me, Nick.
Happy Death Day, Tice.
Yeah, we all done?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, look, I liked it a lot more than you, I think.
Yeah.
I'm giving it like a solid 7.
A solid 7.
Yeah,
fair
solid
deal.
7.
Yeah.
I would watch this again. I think for a bit of fun, I think it suits Halloween season really well as a bit of something.
Bit of fun.
Look, we talked about the Halloween palette cleanser.
Nick, when he was 16 working in the video shop, would have eaten this stuff up. He would have.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Totally all over it. But a more veteran Nick who doesn't really have time. My time is very precious because my little man needs me. He likes to practice his words in my face.
Yeah, well, that's it. Time is precious.
Time is precious. So I don't have a lot of time for Happy Death Day. But other than that, look, I gave it a solid 4.
A solid 4? Jesus. I tell you what, man. There's no such thing as a solid 4. I'll give you what my 4s are. Are you ready?
Give me a top. Give me a top.
I'm going to give you a
3.
selection of
Top
what
3
I've
4s.
rated a 4. Because
Go for it.
There's not many, because 4 is right down the bottom end for me.
I think we should start doing this as a segment. What is Nick and Tice's solid 3s?
Oh, I've given a solid 4.
Solid 4.
To, are you ready?
IMDb rating. Here we go.
A Good Day to Die Hard.
Oh,
I
fuck.
gave a 4
Jesus,
to.
that's not a 4. That's a fucking 2. Are you kidding me? That movie is shit.
That's a 4.
That's a 4.
But this is, I think shit movies are a 4 because it's 2 out of 5, so it's not good.
Yeah.
But it's not vomiting on itself. It's not someone stumbling around, busting through a glass window, vomiting on themselves. Like, it has skill involved, and there are, you know what I mean. Like, so.
Yeah, fair deal.
That's a good example of a solid 4.
What is my other 4? I'm giving you one more 4.
Okay.
I want one more of your 4s. Though.
One more of my 4s?
One more of your 4s.
All right.
Okay. Whoa. All right. X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Ooh, that's a 4.
That's a hard 4.
Interesting.
Yep. And the other one is... Oh, Jesus. Charlie's Angels.
The first one?
The first one.
No.
You need to watch it again,
You
Tyson.
take that
You
back.
need to watch it again.
I have started rewatching that again and then thought, oh, God, I can't wait till we get to do our episodes on this.
Oh, God, Tyson, it was a hard watch. Okay, I'll give you one more.
All right, one more.
Suicide Squad.
I went low on Suicide Squad. I think I went 3 or a 2. I gave a hard 2 to Suicide Squad.
All right, I want 2 more 4s from you.
2 more 4s from me? All right, here you go.
And then we're
going to move on. All right, so here you go. Here's a good example of something I consider a 4.
Yeah.
Bright. The Netflix original Bright.
It's on my list and I will still watch it.
I gave a solid 4 to.
4, fuck. Okay.
And The Da Vinci Code. I gave a solid 4 to.
Oh, I haven't seen either. Give me one that I've seen at least. Give me one that I've
seen. I don't know.
Oh, come on.
Love Actually.
Oh, Jesus.
That's a 4.
That's harsh. That's fucking harsh, man. Merry fucking Christmas. I understand that the females don't do well in that movie, but come on.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, fair deal.
Love Actually. Our man
Tice.
I'm off it. Hey, man, I think it's time to talk about what did we watch this week. And do you want to...
No, you go first.
That was weird. So much weird. Have you got one this week?
I do.
Hey, yeah. I got one too.
Okay.
I watched a movie from 2016, and it's kind of an indie.
Yeah.
horror film that I'd heard a little bit about and was intrigued by. It's a movie called Better Watch Out. Came out in 2016, and it's kind of a Christmas horror movie.
Nice. Geez, you've had a happy birthday horror movie. You've had a Christmas
holiday themed birthday horror movies.
Nice.
I was interested in this because it had some. I found the trailer really intriguing.
Yeah.
It has a real kind of throwback kind of vibe to it. I love Christmas horror films, and I was very intrigued by little bits and pieces that I heard about this film.
Nice.
So without giving too much away, it is about a babysitter who comes to the regular place that she stays at, or the regular house she babysits for. I think it's a couple of nights before Christmas.
Yep.
Parents are going out for a Christmas do, and the boy that she's babysitting has a crush on her. And he's been talking to his friend about how tonight he's going to try and tell her, basically. And he's like trying to figure out ways that he might be able to tell her.
Yeah.
And it's like, do we try and maybe, have a little bit to drink? Do we watch like a horror movie and, also try and grab her hand and stuff like that? And it's all and in the midst of this, they get caught in home invasion.
Oh, home invasion. Nice.
Thing. Now, not everything is as it seems, though.
Okay.
And I don't want to give any more away from that because
decent.
Nothing is what it seems.
Okay.
And it is a black comedy, and it is some of the blackest comedy that I have seen in a really long time. Wow. Stuff that I just did not feel comfortable laughing at. It's a real nasty film. Like, surprisingly so, because it starts off being like something that feels like it's going to be a little bit more good-spirited and a bit more fun, Mm-hmm. The fun gets kind of diminished for the blackness of this. Yeah. You still laugh because you can't help it, but it's part of that. Some of it is laughing because it's so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Some of it. It's got a lot to say about masculinity and entitlement.
Oh, fuck.
Especially masculine entitlement, which I think was
nice
really
combination.
Quite prevalent and timely. It's pretty bloody, which is great.
Nice.
It kind of... It goes for it. It really goes for it.
Yeah.
And it's fun to have that in that Christmas surrounding. There's always something really interesting about seeing like Christmas trees and fairy lights and reindeers and fake snow and just blood and guts and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that's true. That's why the scene in Gremlins when the mother gets attacked by the Christmas tree.
Yes,
that is fucking petrifying for me. Jesus, that is scary.
And look, you can see that this thing, it's like it loves its gremlins.
Yeah.
It's
the cover looks very Gremlinsy.
Well,
it gives a very, like that Christmas. Yeah, it looks good.
So I'd recommend watching the trailer first because it's actually. Oh, maybe just don't. Actually, maybe don't.
Just watch it.
Just
what you've
watch
said,
it because it does take a turn.
Yeah,
and the turn is really effective, I think. And leads to some really fucking creepy places.
Okay.
And it's got it's got one of my favorite last scenes or last few shots. Nice. Of the year so far.
Oh.
It's really quite good.
Okay.
So Better Watch Out.
Better Watch Out. I like the title.
Perfect.
It's a nice play.
It is a nice
play.
Nice play on the Christmas theme.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. I can guarantee it. Yeah. But I don't even think it was 100% mine. But there was enough good stuff
there was
in
enough
it.
In there. That's all right.
Some shady performances. I would say what lets it down the most, I think, is the other performances.
Fair deal.
And some of the writing is a bit naff.
All right. But you still enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it a lot because it went for it, and it had the balls to just go for it.
Yeah, fair deal.
I appreciate that.
I liked it. I like that. And this is why I was going over notes of ye old Tice.
Oh yeah.
And this is why we started this podcast, because we can watch movies that we'll find there may be even one scene and it'll be worth watching the movie, and we'll go, no, it was like I didn't like everything, but because of that scene,
exactly,
fucking awesome.
Yeah,
or
for
even
sure.
a performance, which I heard that Bohemian Rhapsody is like. You watch it for
Rami Malek.
Malek's performance, and then you don't watch it. And I'm like, oh no!
That's kind of the vibe I got from the trailers.
Fuck. God damn it.
That's all right.
I'll still watch it. Hey,
Still watch it.
Give it a shot.
Yeah. What did you watch, Nick?
Well, Tyson, because of what I didn't watch, I decided, and then I watched Uncle Buck, which I'm supposed to be watching horror movies, and I totally forgot. So, I decided to put on 1986's David Cronenberg, The Fly.
Nice.
Which I remember watching it for the first time. I was watching it. I think I hired it from the video store.
Sure.
And my mum was scared to death of this thing. She's scared to death of Jeff Goldblum. Even though
no.
I know, right?
Who could possibly ever be scared of Jeff Goldblum? He's the sweetest.
I know, but back then she was like, "Oh no, that has Brundlefly in it. I'm not watching that."
Sure.
Yeah. So I set myself up for something that I thought was going to be, because I was going through all the horrors. You know, I was watching The Gate and
The Gate,
Nightmare on Elm Street. I was watching Nightmare on Elm Street, and what was a major one like
House? House was a big one for me.
I've never watched that.
Oh,
that
God.
I love that cover. I love that.
That was a huge
Fright
one
Night.
for
I was
me as a
watching
kid.
Fright Night.
Never seen Fright Night.
And I was
wanna see
watching
it so bad.
a lot of Tales of the Crypt.
Sure.
And or the Vault of anyway. So I put this on, and I thought it was going to be like, obviously he turns into a monster and starts attacking people. Let's go. Let's go. It is not that. It is not that at all. It's the eccentric mad scientist who makes a teleporting machine, and when he decides to teleport himself when he's not really supposed to, a fly goes into the pod with him, and their genetics get mutated together.
Sure.
And then Cronenberg steps in and
does what Cronenberg does.
Cronenberg, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, completely, exactly. And it just goes off the road, and you're just disgusted, and you're uncomfortable with what you're watching, and it's
nice.
Really it messes with you to the point where you feel sick watching this thing.
Yeah, right.
And it's so good. I love it. I love it so much. I love the ending. It ends just horrifically in the only way that it can end.
Sure.
And it's gory and it's great. And it's sort of a sci-fi, more horror, but it's still 100% horror. If you were to put it anywhere, unless you have a sci-fi section. See, this is the thing. Where do you put it? Do you put Event Horizon in sci-fi, or do you put it in horror? This is the things that me and Tyson used to do as teenagers. We were like, well,
space horror is a tough sell.
It's a hard one.
Science-based horror was always a tough sell, because you were kind of like, because a lot of it is based on that kind of stuff.
Exactly. The Fly was in our Blockbuster. It was in sci-fi. I always put how the triangle rating, is it drama, is it horror?
Oh, yeah,
in the corner, I put horror, sci-fi.
Oh, you put them both on?
I put them both on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good thinking.
Yeah,
Good thinking.
Yeah. If anyone hasn't seen The Fly, and I think my friend Tyson hasn't.
Have not.
Please watch it. Tyson, if you watch it, we're going to do an episode.
Well, I think we did mention at some point that we'd like to do an episode, so I've kind of put it on the back burner and thought, well, I'll watch it when we do an episode.
And I'm happy. I will watch this thing any day of the week.
Yeah, nice.
I'll always watch this.
Oh, nice. Well, stay tuned. I think that might be a good episode, because I do like my Cronenberg.
Yeah.
Funny with Cronenberg, my thing with Cronenberg is I like...
Yeah. I haven't watched enough Cronenberg, to be honest.
Yeah, look, I've got a few glaring omissions, as in this one especially.
Yeah.
I tend to like less weird Cronenberg.
Yeah. Fair deal.
I like Eastern Promises. I love History of Violence.
Yeah. History of Violence.
Like that Cronenberg, I'm a little bit more jazzed about than
80s Cronenberg is a little different.
And,
and Scanners and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not here nor there. I still
fair
like.
deal.
Don't get me wrong. He's still a fucking genius.
He's fucking awesome.
I get more into it for some reason. I get more into the less body horror stuff.
He did do a combination, Tice, of Cronenberg, Stephen King. He did do The Dead Zone.
Oh, I should watch that.
You
actually,
should watch that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Tell me if it's good.
I will. I've heard it's not bad. Is that Christopher Walken?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
In saying that, though, if you are going to watch The Fly, stay away from the sequel.
No good.
Please stay
Eric
away.
Stoltz doesn't hold up.
Eric Stoltz. It's it's horrible.
Okay.
Oh dear Lord.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bless.
Oh dear.
All right, Nick. Well, why don't we start?
Let's
I'm not getting as high as I used to. I think I've lost some range.
You've lost some range?
No, I'm not going to try.
We're not going to try again. Don't do it. Don't do it twice.
That's disappointing.
Don't do it twice.
That's really disappointing.
I'll get you to go first because I don't have mine yet.
No worries. Well, just recently added to Stan, our Australian version of
streaming service.
Of a streaming service.
Why don't we have more?
Well, we've got
Come
a few.
on, Australia.
We've got a few now. I'm holding out that we're going to get Shudder at some point because I really want Shudder.
I would like and I've actually I don't think I've told you this. A little sneak preview. I've actually used the Nick Tyson Videotape Twitter to tweet at a streaming service which is only in America.
Oh, which
because
one's
they
that?
have so many, and I'm like, can you come to Australia? We would like you here. We love you. You talk and I'll find that.
Okay,
I'll
sure.
find the tweet.
Well, yes, on Stan, and look, there's a high chance I've recommended this film in some way before.
Yeah.
But it's a vampire movie from 2010 called Stakeland, directed by Jim Mickle. It is available on Stan at the moment. It was a very low budget independent film.
Yeah.
I love it. I am a huge fan of it. It made me a big fan of Jim Mickle as well, the director, and I've since gone on to watch anything he's made, and I am more and more into what he does as time has gone by. We had the English-speaking remake of We Are What We Are, it's about a family of cannibals,
right?
And that was amazing.
Right.
And then there was Cold in July, which I think I have definitely recommended on the show before, which is kind of this noir thriller with Michael C. Hall. I'm just a big fan of him as a filmmaker, and this is the first time I saw him, and the first film that he directed that I saw that made me go, oh yeah, no, this guy is on my page.
Yep.
And every movie since then, it's proven that yes, he is on my page. Nice. Stakeland, it treats it's like a vampire road movie basically. It's about a vampire hunter called Mister who, while trying to stake a few vamps, stumbles across a young boy whose parents have been killed, and decides to take him in and starts training him how to be a hunter as well.
Nice.
And along their journey, they just pick up travelers and go to different places, and it's just like little vignettes of things that are happening. And while all this is going on, there is a religious cult that is kind of gaining popularity as the vampires are becoming more and more, devastating to the world.
Yeah.
And the leader of this cult turns out to be somebody very nasty who perhaps it's one of those things that perhaps the humans are just as bad as the vampires.
Wow.
And so, yeah, and it all kind of
everything,
comes to a head at the end of the film. I'm a huge fan of it. I think it's really, really well put together. It's unique enough because it doesn't feel like every other vampire kind of apocalyptic world.
Yep.
It just feels unique enough and lived in enough. It's got enough of our world that the vampire stuff feels like how it would actually be.
Right. I like that.
That's effective. The vampires themselves are nice and scary. Like, they're good vampires.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What are they? Are they True Blood, or are they?
No, there's nothing glamorous about them. They're ravaging maniacs, basically.
Okay. So they're From Dusk Till Dawn type vampires?
No,
they're not that messed up.
No, not that messed up.
Okay.
Nicely in between.
Nice in between.
Yeah. Bit similar to the 30 Days of Night kind of.
Yep. Yeah.
Style.
Okay.
But with less personality. Yeah, and and what I really love is they end up really focusing on the personal relationships, which I think makes it a much better movie. Like, you really believe the relationship between the young guy and Mister, and the bond that they've built together, this father-son relationship, and it's really strong. And yeah, look at vampires. I've always been a big fan of the vampire genre. I will watch pretty much anything that has vampires in it, unless it's real B grade, like Z grade horse shit, because it's everyone's tried to make a vampire film. And this was just one I stumbled across because I was like, you know what, it sounds kind of cool.
They're easy. They're an easy character to make a story around, I think, because the lore of them is so good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's just on Stan. If you haven't seen it, if it looks cheap, give it a go anyway. I promise you will not be disappointed. They did make a sequel to it, which was disappointing. It was.
Really?
I was truly disappointed in it because I was such a big fan of the first one.
Stakeland 2.
Yes. It did not. I believe it was co-written by the same writer, but it was a different director, and it was nowhere near as good as the first one. The first one is legitimately a good movie.
Yeah.
And I definitely recommend it highly.
Nice.
So that's just on Stan. Give it a watch.
Stakeland.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yes.
All right. Well, mine, stuff it. I'm 100% sure that I've already talked about it as well, but I have to say it again because it is that good.
Sure thing.
And it's something that I will rewatch no matter who puts it on.
Do it. No one's going to care.
2014, directed by Drew Goddard, The Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, nice. Where do we watch this?
It is a homage to... We watched this on Stan.
On Stan. Great.
On Stanley. I'm pretty sure you can watch it on something else, though. I'll just have it a quick check. This is a beautiful love letter to anyone that loves horror movies. A friend of mine went to great lengths to make sure that this wasn't ruined for me, this film.
Oh, good.
And he said, no, you're coming around. We're going to do this. He even went to the point of, so if you get the DVD, DVD, Jesus, Nick, you're a bit slow there. If you get the Blu-ray, there's actually, sorry about that. There's actually a giveaway on the back, a picture that gives it away. He actually blacked that out so I could read the back.
Oh, good.
Yeah, hilarious. Amazing.
That's nice.
A lot of length.
like that a lot.
A lot of length went to. So yeah, we watched it and oh my God, I loved absolutely every second of this thing. Because not only does it play on the tropes of horror movies, but the backstage of what's happening in Cabin in the Woods is... amazing, just amazing. So yeah, so writers Drew Goddard and Joss Whedon got together and wrote their love letter to a horror movie.
It is such a great Halloween
such a
watch.
good movie.
Like it's
such a good
perfect
movie.
for October.
Yeah.
Because it does all it's all the stuff that we love about horror movies, all in one movie.
Exactly.
Commenting on it all,
Yeah.
but in a way that is not hanging shit on it. It's not saying that it's like
not at all.
it's not taking the piss out of these tropes. It's actually giving them a reason to exist in one of the most clever and
Yes,
like thought-provoking ways.
And that's why I love it as well, because it's such a clever spin on the horror genre.
Yeah.
You know, it's great.
Yeah, and it's funny, it's terrifying,
Yep.
it's incredibly well written and directed.
Richard Jenkins, Bradley Whitford, fuck me, oh my God.
Like
amazing.
such a great pairing and so good in it. And yeah, like legitimately will surprise you. Like,
Yeah.
I think most people are aware of this movie now and know what's going on.
Yep.
But it has the power to legitimately surprise you.
Yeah. It was so good. And when all hell breaks loose in the end,
it's one of the greatest
it's
moments.
It's such a beautiful thing to watch. It really is.
The elevator ding, and that moment is just
because
wonderful.
The thing that I love about it is, yes, it's a horror movie, so it's going to have all the horror monsters in it. But if you have a legitimate fear, it's probably going to be in the ending of this thing. Whether it be,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it is going to be
whatever one of those movie monsters
it
is still on your mind from when you watched it in the 80s.
Exactly.
There'll be a version of it there.
It's going to be a version of it there. Yeah, and it's so good. And I love it.
Great.
Watch it on Stan.
Great recommendation for October. I like it. All right, Nick, that's going to wrap us up, buddy.
Tyson, that's it. We've got something a little special, Tyson, next week.
Next week we are. It's the return of another one of our returning segments.
Yeah.
This time, one we haven't done for a really long time.
We haven't, no. What was the last one we did of this?
Probably last Halloween.
Really?
I think so.
Oh, shit.
And this is a segment called Everything Old is New Again, where we take an original and a remake, and we watch both, and we compare in the same show.
Yeah.
Last October, we did The Fog. And then The Fog remake. Which,
Jesus.
less we say about that, the better.
Probably got a hard 2.
Oh, that actually probably would have been a hard 2, I reckon. Although Fog number 1, loving it sick.
It's up there.
This year, though, we're hitting Stephen King town. We teased it before.
We did.
Bit of Stephen King town.
And we do something that's that a lot of people have actually liked the remake on this one. This one's going to be a bit different.
This could be, it could be indeed. But we're going to do Carrie.
Carrie.
It's from 1976, and then the remake from 2013.
Yeah.
Right. There is a made-for-television remake in the middle of that we're not going to worry about at all because I'm not watching 3 versions of this at all.
You've got to be kidding me.
So yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be
bring it on,
Brian De Palmering it up.
Yep.
I'm very excited about that. And
jeez, it's going to be fun.
It will be a lot of fun. So before we check off for the night, Nick, why don't you tell people where they can find us, buddy?
Well, thank you for listening to us. I hope you have enjoyed what you've listened to. If you have, please, by all means, like, share, subscribe, do all of the above. Write us a review if you're feeling so inclined. Otherwise, share us, look us up on all the social medias. That is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, And we have an email address, so if you would like to, it's very close to Christmas. I'm pretty sure it's like one sleep, and we're on Christmas Eve.
Might as well be.
So if you are looking forward to, we do if you're looking forward to maybe some Christmas movies, maybe there's something that last year we didn't do that you would like to chime in on.
Please
maybe
let us know.
Now's the time
Our not quite Christmas movies specials. Fucking hell, that was tough. Coming around very soon. We've only got 4 normal episodes before we hit December Christmas.
Exactly. So get them in if you want to. It is at nicktysonvideotape@gmail.com.
Yes, and you can let us know what you thought of any of the movies we've been talking about by jumping on our Facebook page or sending us an email. We'd love to hear what you thought.
We would.
And we'd love to also hear what you guys are planning on watching on Halloween night.
It's coming up.
It is coming up very soon.
It's going to be fun. What are we going to watch, Tice?
Yeah.
Well, you'll have to find out at the end of next week's episode.
You will indeed. All right, that's going to wrap us up, Nick.
All right, Tice.
I'll see you next week, buddy.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.